Cybertruck, there's a lot of fanfare right now, but the base model that's just under 61K doesn't come to market until 2025, which kind of speaks to this idea that the early adopter that will pay the higher average selling price may have been and gone.
If 1% share shifted from hybrids to EVs, that would increase EV growth rate this year from 20% to 35%.
Well, more trouble for Tesla is coming. The EV maker is recalling almost all of its cars sold in the U.S., totaling over 2 million across its lineup.
Well, right now we have news that it's recalling about 2 million vehicles, and this is all because of its autopilot function.
But the fix is an over-the-air software update, and there is a argument to say, well, how fantastic is it that Tesla, after a multi-year investigation by NHTSA, can simply fix the issue by the press of a button?
All that and more. So let's get to it. Middle of the trading day, Tesla is down almost 2.25%. What could have possibly happened to make Tesla slide like this? Let's just say it's not great for my 237.50 call, but I feel the move is so erroneous that I placed a 230 call that expires on the 15th as well. Sometimes the stock market reacts to really ridiculous things. But first,
the narrative from Ford is that they are matching production to what is there in terms of consumer demand. What that looks like in real terms is that they're currently building around 3,200 F-150 Lightnings a week. Next year, they'll build 1,600.
Damn!
The average selling price right now for an F-150 Lightning across the variants that are available on the market is about $65,000 US. And it's interesting. Look at Tesla, I think it's down around 2%. Rivian down around 4%. You know, they also have pickups with much higher average selling prices. Cybertruck, there's a lot of fanfare right now, but the base model that's just under 61K doesn't come to market until 2025, which kind of speaks to this idea that the early adopter that will pay the higher average selling price may have been and gone.
Been and gone? The Cybertruck is going to sell every single one of their vehicles that they make. Those that are able to configure their Cybertrucks are only going to be able to get the all-wheel version or the Cyberbeast. And that all-wheel version, after it's all said and done, is still going to be around $100,000, depending on the bells and whistles that you get. How long will Tesla be able to keep up this pace? Will they go the way of Ford and eventually have to cut production? With 2 million pre-orders, do you even have to ask?
Should Tesla, of course, the king of EVs, and its investors be concerned about the rise of the hybrid? Let's take it to our next guest. Joining us now, Deepwater Asset Managing Partner and Director and friend of show, Gene Munster. Gene, I haven't looked. We get notes for guests. I didn't even look at your notes because I just know what you're going to say. But I will, because my guess is this, and I'm going to speak for you and tell me I'm wrong. The person who buys the hybrid, the Toyota hybrid, is a completely different buyer than the person who's going to buy the Model S Plaid.
Oh, for sure on that, Brian. It is a different
Maybe that was a bad
buyer.
mix. I should have gone with the Model Y versus the Toyota Crown.
I think that gets a little bit more debatable, and I think that when we look at what's happened with hybrids, they have had an impact on EV sales. I just want to quickly frame in what that impact is that they're about 9% of total share today of U.S. cars, hybrids. This is like the Toyota Prius. You don't have a plug in it. You fill it up. You get 60 miles to the gallon typically, and it's priced about the same as a typical gas car. And electric right now is about 7% market share, just like you said in the setup here. If 1% share shifted from hybrids to EVs, that would increase EV growth rate this year from 20% to 35%. So a little bit of success with hybrids in terms of overall market share has a significant impact on what's going on with EV demand. And I think you and Phil had a great setup piece there, just kind of outlining what's going on in the EV market. But I want to add one piece to that, is that I think the critical reason why EVs have slowed dramatically this year, part is because of hybrids. But I also believe that just simply the cost, they typically are 15 to 20% more than a typical gas car. Mm-hmm. And when you have interest rates for cars 10% plus, it's got to have an impact. And so I think that this is an economic force in play here. There is the hybrid. I think that is something that Tesla does keep Tesla up at night, at least in the near term.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Hybrids are a natural stepping stone to the battery electric vehicle. Shout out to the 2016 Hyundai Sonata that I had. All that hybrid did for me was make me not want to go to the gas station. I got 60 miles to the gallon on that thing. And every time I stopped to get gas, I'd be like, this ain't it. Enter the Model 3. While they're presenting hybrids as a threat to Tesla, I counter. Hybrids are the biggest threat to internal combustion engines. This is the last innovation that powertrain has to offer. They're done. Tesla's next generation platform, which will be in higher volumes than the Model 3 and Y right now, will be the death blow to the internal combustion engines, hybrids included.
The interest rate environment is having a more profound impact on what's happening with EVs. They're just expensive.
They are, and you tack on a 9% car loan on top of that. You just look at whatever the price is. By the way, the resales on these things we're realizing are also lower. So people say, well, they have lower maintenance costs. Yeah, but you're gonna get hosed on the resale most likely more than.
Another myth propagated by the current economic situation. When I traded in Stygian, my faithful Model 3, I paid about 40 grand for it. How much did I get when I traded it in? $50,000. Model 3s are so cheap right now. Well, back when I sold it, it took you 12 months to receive a brand new Model 3. What's changed from then to now? Tesla's production rate has increased dramatically. Bottlenecks in the supply chain mysteriously lifted, and the Model 3 was more widely available. There are two metrics that are going to weigh on the price of any Tesla vehicle: how much of it they can produce and how much underlying demand there is. More than likely, Tesla will make 1.8 million vehicles this year, with the intention to grow annually by 50%. That's a lot more cars, ladies and gentlemen. But while Ford, GM, and all the others say that EV demand is slowing, EV adoption is on an exponential growth curve. And Tesla's going to grow to meet those expectations. I guess you can afford to do that when you're making the best vehicles on the planet.
Somebody who's owned an EV, driven almost every one of them, and has raced cars for 25 years, a Tesla is a totally different experience. If for people who want a different there's no knobs, there's no buttons. It's the iPad, it's the full self-driving. You love it or you don't, but it's not going to compete with other cars, Gene. I just don't think so.
I don't think so either, and I think ultimately that the market is saying they're not ready to go all in. They want that traditional hybrid experience. But I think if you fast forward 5-10 years from now, I think that we're going to get there with electric. When you and Phil were talking about kind of Ford being the best position, I think it's also worth noting that traditional auto largely is in a horrible position. And I think that what we're seeing with the growth and the investment in hybrids is another indictment in terms of their problem.
Ding, 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 ding! Tell him what he's won, Johnny! Your mother right. How do you double down on the horse and carriage? That shit make no sense. The doubling down on hybrids, the only thing that shows me is that they're not ready to build battery electric vehicles. And this ain't as easy as Tesla makes it look.
And I don't know how much time you spent on those Boston duck boats, but that is effectively what a hybrid is. It's neither a gas car nor electric. It's both. Yeah. They're not going to be able to scale margins when you have a car that is both electric and gas. You got to make a commitment either to gas or electric.
As we get closer to the end of the trading day, it seems that Tesla has rebounded about 1%, roughly. What caused that precipitous dip in the beginning of the trading day?
Well, more trouble for Tesla is coming. The EV maker is recalling almost all of its cars sold in the U.S., totaling over 2 million across its lineup as it looks to fix an aspect of its autopilot system. Now, this comes after allegations from the NHTSA over several accidents here.
Tesla shares are struggling here a little bit, 235, a couple bucks off where they closed yesterday. What happened?
Well, right now we have news that it's recalling about 2 million vehicles, and this is all because of its autopilot function. Now, an investigation that was happening over the past couple of years revealed that it's a possibility that that autopilot system could be misused by drivers, and Tesla wants to make sure that drivers are paying attention on the road when using autopilot. Now, the recall includes some of Tesla models S, 3, X, and Y that were manufactured between 2012 and 2023. And U.S. safety regulators say Tesla wants to send out a software update to fix the issues.
A software update? 2 million vehicles? I thought there was a problem. You're talking about a software update?
It's a recall in name only, insofar as, yes, 2 million US vehicles are impacted. It impacts all generations of all Tesla models, but the fix is an over-the-air software update, and there is a argument to say, well, how fantastic is it that Tesla, after a multi-year investigation by NHTSA, can simply fix the issue by the press of a button by the consumer or the customer and patch it with software pretty quickly. But clearly, NHTSA is one regulatory body of many regulatory bodies looking at Tesla and Elon Musk's other companies, and this is part of a multifaceted approach to the future of self-driving. What is really important, Lisa, in this case, is this is autopilot, the basic driver assistance that this recall relates to. It does not relate to full self-driving beta, which is the higher degree of autonomy that Tesla currently has in testing with trusted testers and kind of long-serving customers.
That caused this? This is why just buying Tesla stock is so much easier than dealing with the trading of the options. The roller coaster ride is intense. But if you bought a call around 10:30 this morning off this ridiculous recall that sent the robo-traders into a frenzy selling as much Tesla stock as they possibly could, you would be rewarded. As a matter of fact, that's just what I did. Right now, we have a little bit over a 60% gain for the call option that I placed this morning. Expiration date at the end of the week. The goal is to, at a minimum, capture 50% gains and possibly tap out at around 100% gain, depending on Tesla's momentum and the expiration date. In conclusion, Ford is going to cut their production. I don't see how that makes the Ford Lightning a better vehicle, but I suppose slow and steady wins the race? That doesn't sound like a Ford mantra. Hybrids are a threat to EVs, not the natural stepping stone. In 4 or 5 years, people are really going to be caught with their pants down. And Tesla issues a recall for over 2 million vehicles. No, it's not airbags. No, it's not brakes. No, it's not wheels falling off. Shout out to the Toyota BZ. It's an over-the-air software update, potentially ruining one of my calls that end at the end of this week. But you win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.